Start now.
Welcome to the second live session of the course titled Qualitative Research Methods and Research Writing. My name is Aradhana Malik, and I've been helping you through this course. So we will be talking about this course here. I'll try my best to respond to your queries. And I'll just refresh this screen and see what you have asked and see how I can help you best. Okay. I don't see any people logged in. NPTEL team, do you see any people logged in? As far as I can see, there are no live questions yet. So I will try and respond to the questions I received earlier. Okay. Himaja Makkapati faculty has asked something about an assignment. Himaja ji, we have noted your question. It's also on the forum. So please bear with us and we will try and respond to you to your satisfaction on the forum itself. I would prefer to not respond to the quiz questions here so that everybody gets the benefit of the response. People who are not even those people who are not attending these live sessions are able to see our responses. Okay. Somadeep Ghosh, a research scholar, says, what do you think about this paper? Mr. Ghosh, I am not at liberty to comment on the quality of your paper. It is not my job to respond to, or it's not within the purview of my responsibility in this course to respond to specific papers written by the students. So please pardon me, I will not be able to help you with that. Shikha Srivastav, how can we get the PDF file of your lectures for the preparation of written exam? Shikha ji, you are getting the slides periodically, and that is all there is. And so you can go through those. Gina is a student who asked how to write ontology and epistemology of a research problem. Gina, you can go through papers in qualitative research method and look at how these sections are written. So let me see if I can pull out something. Unfortunately, I'm not. I'll see if I can pull up an example here and show it to you. Let us see if that is that can be done. So actually, so you describe in a paragraph what your ontological perspective is and what your epistemological perspective is. And you say the ontological perspective of this study is, and then you give a description of the ontological perspective and the epistemological perspective of your study. And that's how you go about writing it. So okay, so I'm still waiting. NPTEL team, do you see any live questions? Because I'm not able to see anyone logged in.
There is one on YouTube, ma'am.
There is one. Is there a question on you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me see if I can get that question because it's not showing anything. No. Okay, yes. Yes, I've responded to this. Yes, Himaja. Yes. Himaja, I have responded to your question. We will respond to this question on the forum itself since you posted it on the forum also. Okay, thank you. Anchal Bharti, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Anchal. How are you? Ma'am, can you talk a little bit about visual narrative? Okay. What would you like to know, Anchal? And Achintya and Antara, I would like to request you to go through the quiz questions and make sure that the people who've logged in are not asking questions from the quizzes. Okay, so if that is the case, please inform me, and uh, I'll not respond to these questions.
Ma'am, all the quizzes like I open on my desktop, then I will check.
Yes, yes. Okay, but as far as Anchal, visual narratives, there's a question on the quiz, so I'm not at liberty to discuss this here. Ma'am, I've often been confused. Anchal, the question is on the quiz. And the question you're asking is a question on the quiz, and it has been explained in the lecture. So I will not be able to respond to your question here. Okay. Samudyatha Chandrasekhara, ma'am, I've often been confused with the term sampling up to saturation. Is it really possible? Well, Samudyatha, it is possible when you have a large enough sample, or when the population itself is so small, and the sample is the units of the population are more or less homogeneous. So, we typically take people, when we take people and their behaviors, when we limit the scope of our study in such a way that we keep seeing the same patterns emerging in the samples that we draw, that is when the sample becomes saturated. So there's nothing new that you can gain out of uh, getting more units of a representative sample. And that is where, yes, it is possible in specific cases where the scope of your study is very narrow, or where the population is small, or where the concentration of the characteristics that you're talking about is very, very high, and the sample is more or less homogeneous. So I hope that answers your question. Anchal, is participatory action research a good solution to various social problems? Yes, it can be. It can be. Because you are taking social problems, you're taking a problem, you're generating a solution to it, and you're implementing the solution in the field. So, and you see the results there and then. So it can be one of the approaches, and it can be effective depending on the quality of the solutions you generate. Chinna Sanjeevaya, ma'am, which type of research would you prefer for research in finance? That's a very broad question. It depends on your research question. I don't know much about finance. I'm not a finance professor. So, but I'm assuming that qualitative research can be carried out in finance also. At this point, I would like to introduce you all to my teaching assistants for this course. We have Dr. Achintya Nath Saxena. Achintya, can you please say hello?
Hello, everyone. Hello.
And Dr. Saxena is has a PhD in management and finance. In finance and in corporate governance, but primarily in finance and the School of Law. So he's done a joint PhD. So yes, Achintya, is it possible to conduct research in qualitative research in finance?
Ma'am, of course, if say some qualitative methods like interview or all these things are being used, then why not?
Exactly. The research question would determine the kind of
yes. Because
method
because I can tell in corporate governance, when it comes to say interviewing board members and deriving some conclusions from them, the qualitative methods are used.
Thank you very much. So I hope that answers your question, Sinaji. And I would like to introduce my second TA for this course, and that is Antara Banerjee, who is now a PhD student in the School of Management at IIT Kharagpur. Antara, please say hello.
Hello everyone. I'm glad to be a part of this wonderful team. Happy learning to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. So Chinnaji, I hope we've been able to answer your question. Thanks a lot, Antara. Mamta Janvi Pujari, good evening. Good evening, Mamta. Shamal Mandal, ma'am, please discuss about the problems about criteria. What do you want to know? This has been discussed in great detail. Just, please be specific about your questions. What about the problems of criteria do you want to know? Naitik Acharya, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Naitik. Yes. Mr. Mandal, please be specific about your question. Ansel Bharti, ma'am, like we do componential analysis and qualitative research analysis, isn't it like a quantitative research method? No, Anshul, it's not like quantitative research method because you're not quantifying anything. You're not adding numbers. You're only coding. Okay, so categorization and quantification are two different things. Vidya Sagar Kumar, very good experience here. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar. So Anshul, no, it's not a quantitative research method. If a PRA Samudyatha, if a PRA is planned in a setting, will we be able to participate and address all the ethical concerns in the beginning of the study itself? PAR, you mean participatory action research. I hope that's what you mean. Yes, you can participate, obviously, because the word is participatory action research. So you have to participate, and it is your responsibility to address the ethical concerns and get the, I mean, in participatory action research, you find the problem in the field, you generate a solution, and then you implement the solution as sometimes as a participant, sometimes as a non-participant. But the fact that an outsider has been able to generate a solution for the issue is enough to qualify it as a participatory action research. So you are anyway participating in that research activity. Okay. Yes. Jia Seelan Arasu, ma'am, I am criminological scholar. I'm very difficult. It's very difficult for me to understand critical theory and critiques. I'm really sorry about that. But then, what specifically have you found difficult to understand, Mr. J.S. Seelan? Can you please tell me? Can you please specify what it is that you are not able to understand? Enanala Periyar Elango. Mr. Elango, ma'am, could you please explain about qualitative research in social science, especially criminology and criminal justice? Very, very interesting. It is possible to use qualitative research in criminology. You'll be surprised to know that my master's thesis was on criminology. And so I did a master's in human development from Punjab University, and my master's thesis was on criminology. And of course, it is possible where you have people where you're interviewing the background, where you're interviewing, you could be looking at issues related to people convicted of crimes or the backgrounds of crimes, or people administering, the criminal justice procedures. All of this is a very rich ground to apply qualitative research methods into. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Elango. Are students mostly expected to do research in qualitative research for their dissertation? Very nice. What do you do, Mr. Elango? Yes, we can. Yeah, please tell me what you do. And let me see if there's any more question here. Mr. Chinna Sanjeevaya has written a question here on the answer. Unlike scientific research, does qualitative research believe in beliefs that cannot be proved scientifically? No, it does not believe in things that cannot be proved. No, I mean, see, again, scientific quantitative research is very different from qualitative research in that quantitative research, specifically, Angela, I'm responding to your question. You said, unlike scientific research, does qualitative research believe in beliefs that cannot be proved scientifically? It also moves in that direction, and it explores that the avenues where scientific research has not yet been able to prove certain phenomena. So, scientific science is always trying to find out more and more about things, and qualitative research is bridging that gap between what can be quantified and what cannot be quantified. So yes, like scientific research, qualitative research is also trying to look at phenomena that are yet to be explained scientifically. So I disagree with your primary assumption that scientific research does not believe in certain things. Scientific research is all about explaining and quantifying and measuring and tangibly, categorizing certain phenomena. And qualitative research is about describing those phenomena. Okay, then moving on to the next question. Mr. Chinna Sanjeevaya says, distinguish between qualitative and quantitative researches. These differences have been detailed ad nauseum during the course of the subject. Which is better for research? Both are good. It depends on what your research question is and what you're trying to find out through your research. So I would advise you to look at your research question first and try to understand what it is that you're after and what are you trying to find out. Okay. Yes, Mr. Ilango. Yes, Mr. Ilango, when you say our students, are you a faculty somewhere, or which university or institute are you affiliated with? Vidya Sagar Kumar, what type of essential skills we need to develop, conduct focus group discussion for data collection, especially qualitative research? For focus group discussion, yes, you need to be able to understand the topic that you're talking about. So you need to have enough knowledge about the topic that you're talking about. Your research question needs to be crystal clear in your mind, and you need to be able to get elicit responses from your focus group. Okay, so there needs to be a certain level of comfort between the interviewer or the moderator of the focus group discussion and the participants, and the moderator should be in a position to elicit certain responses. Samudita, ma'am, I meant whether we can anticipate and address ethical concerns in a PAR at the beginning of the study. It may be possible depending on the situation you're in, Samudita. So yes, you may be able to do it, but it's not a good idea to jump the gun right in the beginning. Okay, it's really not a good idea to move very, very fast. Take it slow, try and understand the problem, and in developing a solution to the problem, make sure that you are using ethical, or you are designing the solution ethically. Indubitable tellurian. Yes, I am assuming this is not your real name. Hi, ma'am. I have completed your NPTEL course on qualitative research and art and research writing. Just here to say you have helped me a lot in my research journey. Thank you for spreading all the wonderful insights. Thank you very much. I wish you had shared your real name with us. Anchal says, ma'am, I loved your lecture on observation. Thank you very much, Anchal. I'm glad I could be of help. Shamal Mandal, how can I apply qualitative research in motivational phenomenon? What kind of motivational phenomenon are you talking about? Okay, so yes, I mean, if your research question mandates a description rather than a quantification, then definitely you can apply qualitative research methods. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Mandal. Yes, I'm waiting for your questions. In a production unit, how can you apply qualitative research in motivational phenomenon in a production unit? Depends on your research question, Mr. Mandal. Again, my answer is the same, that if your research question requires you to describe phenomena, in addition to quantifying them, then yes, definitely you can. Yeah, then definitely you can apply qualitative research methods. Okay. Dr. Ilango, respected ma'am, myself, Dr. E. Perrier, Assistant Professor, Department. Okay, very nice to meet you, Dr. Perrier. Yes, please write to me. Maybe we can do some work together, because I did my master's in criminology. So, I mean, it was human development, but my thesis was in criminology. So maybe, we can jointly do some work together. Okay. Let me see if I can. Oh no, I cannot. Okay, Achintya, are you able to comment on the questions that are being asked here, or can you comment, Achintya or Antara? Are you able to write something in the chat section? Okay, maybe not. Yes, NPTEL team, may I request you to please share my official address with them. I'll just share that with you on the Zoom chat platform. So if you can just put it
Well,
there.
actually not on Zoom, but I think on YouTube, they may, because
yes.
here, nothing.
Yeah. No, I'll share my email address with the NPTEL team here, and they are able to comment on YouTube, right? NPTEL team.
Yes.
You can also comment on YouTube.
No, it is asking me to create a channel. I'm logged in through a different Gmail
Okay,
account.
okay, ma'am. You can send it on the.
I'll just
Yeah.
So I'm just writing this here. Yeah. So if you can please share this email address with them, I can. Did you get it? NPTEL team?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. If you can just share it with the students here. Yeah, thanks. Okay. So, Mr. Mandal, yeah, I've answered your question. Samudyatha, thank you so much, ma'am. Your lectures have been very useful. Thank you very much, Samudyatha, for participating in the course, and we are glad we could help you with your learning journey. Anchal Bharti, if we don't belong to a cultural community, can we write ethnography and express the depth of the culture? It is possible to do that, Anchal, but then it is very, very difficult to do that. Okay, so let me see. A well-known, anthropologists have been known to marry into the tribes of the cultures they want to study and write about their experiences as insiders. So that has also been done. I mean, that's of course taking things to the extreme. But in order to conduct an ethnographic study, it is, and that is the difference between autoethnography and ethnography. Even for ethnography, one needs to understand the culture thoroughly, and only then can one write about it. It's very difficult to just go in as an independent researcher and start collecting information and write about it. Um, it's not the way that works. Okay. So yes, Anshul. Only technical student. Good evening. So, Anshul, the brief answer to your question regarding ethnography is that yes, you may not belong to a particular cultural group, but if you've lived with that cultural community long enough to have observed and understood the finer nuances of their culture, then it is definitely possible to write an ethnographic account. Okay. But you need to have understood the culture, and you can't understand these things by reading books and talking to people. No, you have to observe things day in and day out for months and months and maybe years on end. Dr. Elango, may I request you to please share your email address here so we can be in touch? Anshul, while doing group interview, do we use a uniform language or multilingual platform is used? It depends on who you're talking to. Okay, so in India, most of us are bilingual or trilingual, multilingual. We speak several languages. So I don't think very many people speak, very many people are monolingual. That has been my experience. I could be wrong. But then, as long as whatever you're saying is understood by the people you're talking to, I think it's fine. So language is not a barrier. It's only a tool that you use to get the information that you want to get. It shouldn't be a limiting concern for you. Yes. Samudita, when we are conducting a qualitative or mixed method study with more than one interviewers, how do we minimize the interobserver bias? Okay, that's a very interesting question, Samudita. You need to have discussed the process of conducting interviews earlier on, and you must be in communication with each other. You must have practiced the interview with each other so as to be on the same page. Okay, so but then of course if it's an open interview, then or an unstructured interview, then the chances of bias creeping in are there. So that cannot be done away with. But definitely, as long as you are clear about the question that you want to get answers for, the kind of information you're seeking, the kind of information you want to record, then the chances of bias are less. And of course, these days, in this modern day and age of being able to record so much, it may not be a bad idea to audio and video record the entire proceedings, uh, for independent interviews, and then sit together and interpret and take down the responses together, so that there is mutual discussion and the bias is removed. That might be one of the methods of doing this. Anshul says, what is the difference between coherence and correspondence? Coherence is, they're more or less along the same lines. Now, when we say coherence, it's when things fit in with each other, and correspondence is a slightly looser term than that. So correspondence means something is connected to something, but coherence is that it directly fits with something. But I'll need to know the context in which you're asking this question. Yes. Please keep the questions coming. I hope I'm able to help you. Let's see if we have any more questions. No, we don't have anything here. Okay, any more questions? Yes. Any questions, comments, concerns? We will have one more live session before your exams. Okay. This course requires 3 live sessions. We've had 2. We'll have the third one just before your exams, so that you can discuss whatever it is that you need clarification on. Nitesh Patel, good evening, ma'am. Which methodology is appropriate in foreign policy research? Nitesh, it depends on your research question. Okay. So it depends entirely upon your research question. It depends on what you're trying to find an answer. Okay. Samuditha says, thank you, ma'am. We usually train the team before the study begins to avoid inter-observer bias. Very good. Still, I continue to have the feeling that something is missed out, especially in semi-qualitative. Yes, it is. That is always the case, Samuditha. That is always the case. But then what do you do? You know, more than one person is interviewing, more than one person is, and it is practically impossible for a single person to, sometimes depending on the project that you've undertaken, depending on the question that you're finding answers to, it is sometimes impossible for the same person to travel to different locations and collect information from different sources. So, that does creep in. But then, of course, training the observers is important. Having, keeping them in contact with each other is important. And recording everything associated with the interview is always a good idea, so that they can come back and sit together and interpret together. Samudyatha, what do you do? Are you a student or are you a faculty member? What kind of work do you do? Vidya Sagar Kumar, no more queries, ma'am. We have to learn some basics of research, like how to develop appropriate research questions, questionnaire, etc. Absolutely, absolutely. We'll try. I'm sure there are courses here that do that. If not, then we will try our best to come up with such courses. So let us know if you want these courses. developed, and maybe, you know, we can have mini courses, say 10 hours each on specific techniques. Vidya Sagar Kumar, how to create reliability of questionnaires, tools, etc. It depends. I don't know what your etc. is about, but then, of course, when you develop a questionnaire, what do you mean by reliability? Do you know what is meant by reliability and validity? Mr. Kumar, I'm asking you this. What is reliability and what is validity? Do you know the difference between the two? How to compute reliability? Again, when we talk about computation, we go into the realm of quantitative research. So we are not going to touch that area at all. Okay, but to ensure reliability, what do you mean by reliability? Please answer my question. What is the difference between reliability and validity before I touch that? Yes, reliability is consistency and validity is the fit. You're absolutely right. So when you talk about consistency, there are ways and means to do it. You must have a clear research question. You must know exactly what you're trying to find answers to. And then when you start, you know, pilot studies are helpful in ensuring reliability of the questionnaire. So, but when we talk about computing reliability, we are going into the realm of quantitative research and we don't touch that. Okay. The pilot studies, you know, you do several runs of the questionnaire and see the kind of information that you're getting. The whole idea about qualitative research is to not get the same kind of responses. It's to get a diversity of responses and form connections between them. Validity is fitness, absolutely. Yes. Oh, wow. My Dr. Perrier, my scholar is doing case study method on children in conflict with the law. Can we do mixed method as qualitative and quantitative research, ma'am? Absolutely. Dr. Lango, I'm very interested in connecting with you, you know, this course. So please share your email address here. And Dr. Chandrasekhara, Dr. Samudetha, yes, please share your email address as well. I would like to be in touch with both of you. Vidya Sagar Kumar, can we do pilot study while doing case study in psychology? Case studies don't require pilot studies. Case study itself means that you collect all the information regarding a particular case, and depending on which branch of psychology you're dealing with. Okay, so you can collect the information about it. Okay, we just have 5 minutes left for this. So yes, Samudhyatha and Dr. Periyar, please share your email addresses. I will write to you. We only have 5 minutes. So, okay. Naitik Acharya, impact of GST can be a measure through selected companies. Then which tools are more reliable? That will again depend on your question. And I'm not at liberty to give individual advice on specific research questions here. So, sorry. Counseling psychology. Yes, counseling psychology, of course. But you don't need to do a pilot study is of no use when you're doing a case study. So, Mr. Kumar, yeah, there is, you don't need a pilot study for a case study. You want to collect the information about a particular case. So you collect all the information there is, and then you try and, make connections between different points in that information. Okay. Yes, Dr. Ilango and Dr. Samudhyatha, please send me an email at the email address that has been shared with you in this chat box. And I would really like to stay in touch with you. And, maybe we can do some studies together. That would be wonderful. Yes. So thank you very much. I think we have about 3 minutes left. Thank you so much. Yes, let's be in touch, Samudhyatha. So do send me an email. We've shared my email address has been shared with you. I'm so glad to have helped, Mr. Vidyasagar. So we have about 2 minutes left for this session. So I wish you all the best. And please send me an email and we will be in touch and we can do something together. So very nice talking to all of you. And if there are no more questions, I think we can end this session. Maybe, okay, we have 2 minutes, 1 minute left. Okay, thank you very much for participating in this live session. We will have another live session before your final exams. Please continue to study, continue to learn, continue to participate in the forum, and please appear for your quizzes conscientiously. And I wish you all the very best, and I look forward to connecting with you in the next live session. Thank you very much.